At this point, we will now have the turnover of dividend checks to the President. May we request His Excellency President Benigno S. Aquino III to please receive the dividend checks from the respective chairmen and CEOs of the board of the GOCCs. His Excellency will be assisted by Vice President Jejomar C. Binay, Senate President Franklin Drelon, Finance Secretary Cesar Purisima, Budget Secretary Florencio Abad, GCG Chairman Secretary Villanueva, and Treasurer of the Philippines Rosalia. The President has a very tight schedule today, so may we request the GOCC representatives to get ready on the sides as prompted by our ushers, and when your company is called to go on stage, present your checks to the President and pose for a photo. May we now call on the PNOC Alternative Fuels Corporation, PNOC AFC, with its Chairman Sabino R. Dapat and President Dante B. Canlas. PNOC AFC is remitting 500,000 pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. Next, we have the Apo Production Unit Incorporated with its Chairman Milagros S. Alora and President Amando C. De Marucot Jr. Apo is remitting 2.7 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. The Masaganang Sakahan Incorporated, MSI, with its Chairman Crespino T. Aguelo and General Manager Roy C. Osiliada. MSI, a subsidiary of the Land Bank of the Philippines, is turning over 2.87 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. The Philippine Aerospace Development Corporation, PADC, with its acting president, Conrado C. Cueto. PADC is chaired by the Honorable DOTC Secretary, June Abaya. PADC is remitting 3 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. The Authority of the Freeport Area of Balitaan, AFAB, with Chairman and Administrator Deogracias P. Custodio. AFAB is remitting 4.56 million pesos in dividends to the national government. The Laguna Lake Development Authority, LLDA, with its General Manager, Secretary Juan Nerios Acosta Jr., and the Chairman of the LLDA is the Honorable DENR Secretary Ramon Jesus Paje. LLDA is remitting 5.09 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. The Philippine Fisheries Development Authority, PFDA, with its General Manager Eduardo M. Chu. The Honorable DA Secretary Proceso Alcala serves as Chairman of PFDA and is remitting 5.41 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. Next, we have another land bank subsidiary, the LBP Resources and Development Corporation, LBP RDC, with its chairperson, Hilda Pico, and its president, CEO, Simeona S. Guevara. LBP Resources is turning over 5.72 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. The PNOC Development and Management Corporation, with its president and CEO, Herminio Alcacid Sr. PNOC DMC is remitting 7.81 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Okay. The National Irrigation Administration, NIA, with its new chairman, Presidential Assistant for Food Security and Agricultural Modernization, Secretary Francis Pangilinan, and Administrator Clara Lizardo. NIA is remitting 8.51 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Next. Thank you. The Clark International Airport Corporation, SIAC, with its President and CEO, Victor Jose Luciano. The Honorable DOTC Secretary Jun Abaya serves as ex officio chairman of SIAC. SIAC is remitting 9.47 million pesos to the national government. Thank you. The National Home Mortgage Finance Corporation, with its chairman, the Honorable Vice President Jejomar Binay, and its President CEO, Felix Berto Bustos Jr. The NHMFC is remitting 12.3 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. Next is the Sugar Regulatory Administration, SRA, with its administrator, Maria Regina Bautista Martin. The SRA is chaired by the Honorable DA Secretary, Proceso J. Alcala. SRA is remitting 16.27 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. Next is the Nayong Pilipino Foundation Incorporated, NPF, with its chairman, Grace Quevedo Panagsagan, and executive director, Apolonio B. Anota Jr. Nayong Pilipino is remitting 16.87 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. The Social Housing and Finance Corporation, chaired by the Honorable Vice President Binay, with its President, Maria Ana Oliveros. It is remitting 19.59 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. The LBP Insurance Brokerage Incorporated, LIBI, with its chairman, Tomas T. De Leon Jr. LIBI is remitting 34.55 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. The Philippine National Oil Company, PNOC, with its President and CEO, Antonio M. Cailao. PNOC is chaired by the Honorable DOE Secretary, Carlos Jericho Petilla. PNOC is remitting 50.98 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. The Philippine Export-Import Credit Agency, PhilExim, formerly known as TIDCorp, is led by its President, Francisco S. Magsaho Jr. PhilExim is chaired by the Honorable Finance Secretary, Cesar Purisima. PhilExim is turning over a total of 56.75 million pesos, representing 50 million in dividends and 6.75 million in other forms of remittance. Next is the Philippine Retirement Authority, PRETA, with its chairman, the Honorable Secretary Ramon R. Jimenez, and General Manager Veredigno P. Atienza. PRETA is remitting 60 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. The Fibidec Industrial Authority, PIA, with its chairman, Triunfo P. Agustin. The PIA is turning over 64.86 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. Next is LBP Leasing Corporation with its chairperson Hilda Pico and President Manuel Lopez. LBP Leasing is turning over 72.15 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. The next is the Cebu Port Authority, CPA, with its chairman, the Honorable DOTC Secretary Jun Abaya and General Manager Edmond Tan. CPA is remitting 74.41 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. Next is the Philippine Reclamation Authority, PRA, with its chairman, Roberto T. Muldong, and its general manager, Peter Anthony Abaya. The PRA is remitting 82.1 million pesos to the national government. But this morning, they have a check for 1.2 million pesos. Next, please, is the Local Water Utilities Administration, LUWA, with its new administrator, Andres Ibarra. LUWA is remitting a total of 82.57 million pesos, representing 74.41 million in dividends and 8.16 million in other forms of remittance. Thank you. The National Power Corporation, NPC, with its president, Gladys Santa Rita. NPC is chaired by the Honorable Finance Secretary Cesar V. Purisima. NPC is remitting 100 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Next is the Cagayan Economic Zone Authority, ZESA, chaired by the Honorable DTI Secretary Gregory L. Domingo with its administrator, Jose Marie B. Ponce. ZESA is remitting 100.02 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. The National Housing Authority, with its chairman, the Honorable Vice President Jejomar Binay, and General Manager, Attorney Chito Cruz. NHA is remitting 108.14 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. The Clark Development Corporation, CDC, with its chairman, Eliseo P. Santiago, and president and CEO, Arthur P. Tugade. CDC is remitting 110 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. The next is Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewerage System, MWSS, with its acting chairman and administrator, Gerardo Esquivel. The MWSS is turning over a total of 114.19 million pesos, representing 84.07 million pesos in dividends and 30.12 in other forms of remittances. Thank you. The National Development Company, NDC, and its subsidiaries, the Pinagkaisa Realty Corporation, Batangas Land Company Incorporated, Kamayan Realty Incorporated, Manila Gas Corporation, and its affiliate, the Alabang Santo Tomas Development Incorporated. NDC is chaired by the Honorable DTI Secretary Gregory Domingo, with its General Manager, Maria Lourdes Rebueno. GM Rebueno also sits as chairperson of Pinagkaisa Realty and Kamayan Realty, with Lilia Arce as their president, CEO, and Attorney Luis Sison for ASD. Collectively, NDC and its subsidiaries and affiliate are remitting a total of 126.83 million pesos in dividends to the national. Thank you. Next is the National Electrification Administration, NEA, with its chairman, the Honorable DOE Secretary Carlos Jericho Petilla, and its administrator, Edita Bueno. NEA is remitting 148.23 million pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. The Mactan Cebu International Airport Authority, MCIAA, with its chairman, the Honorable DOTC Secretary June Abaya, and General Manager Nigel Paul Villarete. MCIAA is remitting 202.8 million pesos in dividends. Thank you. Next is the Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority, S.M.E, with its chairman and administrator Roberto V. Garcia. The SBMA is turning over a total of 212.21 million pesos, representing 185.88 million pesos in dividends and 26.33 million pesos in other forms of remittance to the national government. Thank you very much. Next is the Philippine Economic Zone Authority, PEZA, with its chairman, the Honorable DTI Secretary Gregory L. Domingo, and the Director General Lilia B. De Lima. PEZA is turning over a total of 523.53 million pesos, representing 522.67 million pesos in dividends and 0.86 million pesos in other forms of remittance to the national government. Thank you. Now, entering the elite circle, what we always refer to as the Billionaires Club. May we call on the Philippine Deposit Insurance Corporation with its president, Valentin Araneta. PDIC is chaired by the Honorable Finance Secretary, Cesar Purisima. PDIC is remitting 1.05 billion pesos in dividends to the national government. Thank you. Next is the Philippine Ports Authority, PPA, with its chairman, the Honorable DOTC Secretary June Abaya, and General Manager Juan C. Santana. PPA is remitting a total of 1.42 billion pesos, representing 1.382 billion in dividends to the government and 39.65 million pesos in other forms of remittances. Thank you. Next is the PNOC Exploration Corporation, PNOC-EC, with its chairman, Himiliano C. Lopez Jr., and President Pedro Aquino Jr. PNOC-EC is remitting 1.5 billion in pesos in dividends to the national government. Please. Thank you. Next is the Manila International Airport Authority, MIAA, with its chairman, the Honorable DOTC Secretary June Abaya, and General Manager Major General Jose Angel Honrado. MIAA is remitting a total of 1.58 billion pesos, representing 1.05 billion pesos in dividends and 526.61 million pesos in other forms of remittances. Thank you. The Bases Conversion Development Authority, BCDA, and its subsidiary, the BCDA Management Holdings Incorporated. BCDA is chaired by the Honorable Rolando Gosingfiao and its President and CEO, Attorney Arnel Pasiano Casanova, who also serves as acting chairman of BMHI. The BCDA and BMHI are collectively remitting a total of 2.108 billion pesos to the national government, representing 400.33 million pesos in dividends and 1.1707 billion in other forms of remittances. Thank you. Next is the Power Sector Assets and Liabilities Management Corporation, PSAM, with its chairman, the Honorable DOF Secretary Cesar V. Purisima, and President Emmanuel R. Ledesma Jr. PSAM is remitting a total of 2.5 billion pesos, representing 1 billion pesos in dividends and 1.5 billion in other forms of remittance. Thank you. Next, we'd like to call on the Development Bank of the Philippines, DBP, led by its chairman, Jose A. Nunez Jr., and President and CEO, Gil A. Benaventura. DBP is remitting a total of 3.62 billion pesos, representing 2.947 billion pesos in dividends and 668.23 million pesos in other forms of remittance. Thank you. Next is the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation, PAGCOR, with its chairman, Cristino L. Nagyat Jr., and President and CEO, George V. Sarmiento. PAGCOR is turning over 4.093 billion pesos in dividends today, in addition to the 5.7 billion pesos in other forms of remittances. Thank you very much. And now, we would like to call on the Land Bank of the Philippines, LBP, with its President and CEO, Hilda E. Pico. Land Bank is chaired by the Honorable Finance Secretary Cesar V. Purisima. LBP is remitting a total of 6.3 billion pesos, representing 6 billion pesos in dividends, and 8.98 million pesos in other forms of remittances. Thank you very much. At this point, let's all give another round of applause to the 49 GOCCs who remitted to the national government. We thank you for your continued support.